Welcome to the Some Laugh podcast.
It could be like, oh, that was some laugh, or there was just some laughs.
Some laughs.
Well, no promising all laugh.
No, there's going to be some.
It's some laugh.
In a wee while, boys.
Since the three of us have been in the same room. Well, for the listeners, it's been 2-3 weeks, but
We were in the same room 2 days ago.
we were
Yeah.
doing the stand.
The stand. That's quite rare these days.
It is, but I would say that if you do want to all see it live, well, let's get this in early.
There's a plug
yeah.
straight in.
We're actually
Always on.
we're doing three triple headers where the three of us, you'll be able to see us in an intimate environment, trying out new stuff for our fringe shows at Gale and Grain, which was Van Winkle West End, on Sandyford Place, which we know that you know. So, but some tickets still available, so if you want to come see us there. But yes,
Everyone looking ashamed to be in the waiting area for getting into our gig.
well, that's what I always say when I do that gig. I'm like, anytime I walk down that road where the Sandyford is, I'm always para that somebody sees me and
For the
thinks,
listeners, if you don't know, it's a sexual health clinic.
yeah,
next
they
door.
think
Yeah.
that I'm going to sexual health clinic. Although I would say this, I've not been to that specific one, which I'm assuming is like the sort of the original, given the name.
HQ. Yeah,
But because they just send you your local ones now.
I have been there, and also my therapist used to be above Van Winkle, and I would
Did
do
it?
gigs there, and I thought I could live my whole life on this strip.
I didn't stand up sexual health and therapy.
Out the
What we're
frying
doing.
pan into the fire.
But because they used to have a drop in at the Sandyford, and that doesn't exist anymore. So you need to book it online, and you go to your local place and blah blah blah. But what was annoying, like my mum used to work in the Clydebank Health Centre, and that is where they would have it on a Wednesday. I remember going one time, and then I walked by like up your best pal, and I'm like, oh no, because I didn't tell her I was going. I'm like, fuck, she's going to tell my mum she's just seen me, and then she's going to know I'm shagging. But aye, but anyway, bye. So we,
That'll be fun. I'm looking forward to those.
yeah,
gigs.
we're doing
There's
a
still tickets left.
it is, absolutely. Well, we only
Great.
publicly announced it the other
Lots
day.
of tickets, or just a few.
Well, there isn't
Well,
that
it's
many
not. It's
tickets for all
they're
in.
small venues, so that's the key. If you want to come and see us, intimate setting, you could heckle us and we'll respond. Don't heckle us, but you know,
Yeah,
like,
do not do that.
but you can say hi and we'll have a bit
Afterwards.
Also, I don't want you to know this either, but you could heckle.
afterwards. Don't come up to me during the show.
Well, you don't want to say hi whilst I'm trying to do my killer new jokes.
Yeah.
You could do it during the break.
Well,
Don't try and do that, but you
do
know,
it at the end. Do it at the end. Give us a break.
absolutely,
Yes, come along.
Yeah, come along. Should be fun.
it will be fun.
Will be fun.
Not all laugh is what we've actually genuinely called it.
Great.
Lower their
It's
expectations.
a work in progress, so it's it's a good idea. But yes, we were all doing the stand in Edinburgh the other night together.
You've been doing your tour as well,
I've-
Jennings.
I've been on the road, man.
You've been gallivanting.
This is the last 4 weekends I've been off on the road, and this is my first kind of week off.
Have you not got any shows tonight?
No,
Cool. I thought you were doing like Dundee and that. Was that last week?
it was fucking about a month ago now.
Oh, well, fair enough.
We take a very active interest in your
I know, I can see how much you're paying attention, eh?
Aye.
No, we did. Dundee was good. There was two shows in Dundee. Perth Theatre the following night. Dundee late show was great because it was all the young cunts.
No.
Nice.
Early show, not so much.
All
but
cunts.
hey, listen, they're all welcome. They're all buying tickets. But and then I up to Aberdeen and Glasgow, Edinburgh. You obviously opened Glasgow, didn't you, for us? And then
Blackfriars, yep.
we
Fun gig.
we went to I was down in like Manchester, Liverpool, Leeds, and if anyone who follows me on social media will have seen this.
You got your car smashed? Is that right?
Aye, what happened?
So
You and that fucking motor.
I know, just after talking about how or the shite, but I tell you what, right? So what happened was I was staying in Liverpool that night after doing the show, going to Leeds the following day, and so I leave the car outside Hot Water Comedy Club where I'm doing the show. I think, right, here's why I done this, because usually when I go to Liverpool, I stay in the Premier Inn that's near enough to the club. But it was pure extortionate, right, for this Saturday night for some reason. So I was like, fuck that. But they gave like discounted parking in the fucking car park next to it. So I usually always put my car there. Because I never got that, I got an Airbnb around the corner that was cheaper. And Hot Water have been they basically had a big campaign with the Liverpool Council or whatever, because Everton's new stadium's going to be nearby, and because of that they were going to charge like there was going to be like you weren't able to park in the street for free any time because like on match days it'd be busy. So they had a big campaign and they won it, and so it's still free parking. So I think because that was so in my head from seeing that online, I was like, oh well, you can park free there. I have parked there before, but only like when I'm like doing the gig and then leaving.
Yeah.
So if I'll just leave it overnight, right? So leave it there. I did the gig, didn't think too much about it. But then the next day when I walk around to get the car, it's the only one on that street in the morning. And instantly I'm a bit like, oh fuck. And then I just thought I was chuckling to myself, thinking, oh well, you know, I fucking got in the front and I just see the fucking windscreens just tanned in. So
what do you think happened then?
Just some.
I mean, honestly, your guess is as good as mine. It could have been
dissing you at the gig.
It could have been that. No, I think honestly it was. I mean, just it being left there. It's, to be honest, that area. Anyone who's been there, it is a bit sketchy around about it, and then you go in and it's like the club's like fucking class, but like that street, you know, that sort of stuff, is a bit dodgy. And the fact there's only one there, so it could have been people just fucking steaming and walking by. It could have been anything. It really could have been anything, but it did look as though they'd done it a fair done. They must have smacked it with a brick or a fucking bottle or something, because it was like proper tanned in, but it was right in the bottom left hand corner, so it's like the passenger side. Big crack there, so you couldn't really see that side, but then there's cracks kind of coming up on the driver's side, so I could see clearly out the window for that, but I'm like, is this just going to cave in at any minute? Yeah. And they do say like you basically shouldn't drive like that, so
yeah, I'm just surprised that's the advice.
And I was pretty hungover, and I was just sitting there, and that way like you're so kind of hungover and tired. I was just like, I didn't really react. I was just like, all right, this has happened. Fuck, what do I do? And then I'm just sort of sitting there for a bit. I'd start Googling garages. Obviously, it's a Sunday, everywhere's closed. I phoned someone that came up on Google, and the guy, Scouse guy, he was dead sound, to be fair, and he was just like, I just told him what happened. He's like, you're not going to get it done the day because it's Sunday, everywhere's closed. He says, you need to wait till Monday, you can look about and all the rest of it. But it would have cost me a bomb. Now, I've got auto glass through my car insurance, but again, I think they were maybe closed on the Sunday, and you need to book an appointment online. I couldn't get one to Wednesday, and that'd have been in Manchester. So I'm like, I can't just kick about here for like 3 extra days for no fucking reason. So I'm like, just sort of stressing out, don't know what to do. I actually went into the club because it was open during the day. They had good kids stuffing on it on. And I said to one of the staff, and they're like, fucking hell. And they're like, oh, do you know Callum Oakley, who's a comic? Down there, he left his car there a few weeks ago and it set on fire, apparently.
Fuck's sake.
And actually, my pal came to the gig the night before and she says, I parked on what looked like a burnt out car. So I think that was Callum's car that she parked on. But so I'm like, fucking hell. So actually, in a way, I think I got off lucky. But what I ended up doing, and this, of course, if anyone is listening in law enforcement, this is all satire and none of this happened. But what I did is I just phoned my cousin. My cousin works in a car repair centre, Clydeside Auto Repair, I think it's called Clydeside Repair Centre. Shout out, there you go.
Not an official sponsor.
No, but you know, it's family.
Yeah,
keep it in the family.
Yeah,
but I phoned him and I sent him some pictures and I was like, what do you think? And he's like, he goes, he says it should be fine. He said, what you should try and do, drive it to Leeds, see how you get on, because I was also had to go to Leeds for that gig tonight, and I'm like, I'm contemplating, do I get a lift or do I try and get a bus or a train or something to Leeds, come back, stay there, get it fixed on the Monday? But it would have cost me like 5 times as much as it does through Autoglass if I had to get it in a garage or something.
They repair and replace, don't they?
They do. They certainly do. Well, it was definitely a replacement that was needed, is one way to say. But he was like, I just see how you go on. He says it shouldn't. He says I've drove ones much worse than that. You can see at the front, and see how you get on. And if you're all right on that and the motorway and stuff, then he's like, if I was you, I'd just try and drive it home. But I'm mental. That's what he said to me. I was like, fuck. But then the thing is, I put it on Instagram, and people like, there's guys I went to school with that going, oh, don't drive that in the motorway. It's going to fucking cave in and all this stuff. So you're getting all this. You're getting all this different
nice to be
feedback.
Scared either way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Scare tactics.
Exactly. So what I ended up doing, I just thought, right, fuck it. I'm just going to try and drive to Leeds. And so I started driving it, and it was fine. I got on the motorway, and then I'm like, going as fast as you're going to go. And I'm like...
It's funny when you remember you're just a comedian.
I know.
I mean, like, this isn't a paramedic trying to get to work.
No. Do you know what it was? Do you know what was going through my mind at certain points? I'm going like that. Because it's so... All that stuff's so mental as well. Because if you start thinking this is going to cave in, you're really panicking. But then I was going like, well, fucking James Bond, like, you know, they shoot the windscreen and he's still driving. That's you know what I mean.
He's not got auto glass.
Was that your rationale?
I was
James
thinking, I was like,
Bond
what?
drives.
Films not that they drive and stuff, and it's fine.
Yeah,
So
films.
exactly. But once I got on the
Vin
motorway,
Diesel wouldn't fucking quit. I'll tell you that much.
once I got on the motorway and it was all right. I'm like, right, I was pretty confident. I think it's going to be stable enough. But then my big concern was getting stopped by the police, because the guy that I phoned, the Scouse guy for the garage, said, "Oh, if you get stopped, they'll take the motor off you." And it's like a proper bad
What was
one.
your excuse going to be? A bird flew into the window in the morning.
I was going to say that I could only get an auto glass thing in Leeds, and I had to get it there. That was going to be my excuse.
Right.
Or because I actually think it was so bad that it would have been, they wouldn't have been believable that like a rock had hit it or something, because it's been fucking scudded. Yeah. Unless I said something fell at a truck or whatever, but I don't know. I just was panicking. I was probably a bit hungover still as well, and then I was shaking myself. So basically, as soon as I got on the motorway, I was like, right, I should be kind of okay. But at one point, and it's an hour and a half drive as well, it leads for Liverpool.
Hit a pothole.
No, that was fair. That's why the motorway's safer, because there's less of that shit.
Right.
So it's actually safer driving the motorway. But then there was a police kind of coming up behind me, so I had to do that thing where, you know, there's like a cut off, but then you can go straight back on the motorway. I just done that so that they could go by me, and then I avoided them. Mate,
I
it's
was
so
getting up to such low level GTA shit.
Mate, it was, and I think the thing is, people, they might not even have fucking noticed that, or they wouldn't have been a big deal. But in my head, I'm pure like, because it was either like at the start of the day, I'm thinking I might be fucking stranded here for a couple of days. I didn't know if I was going to be able to drive the motor. Then I take a chance on it and I just go, I just need to get to there, do the gig, get up the fucking road, and this is like panic over kind of thing. Feel like a pure shite situation. But then, so got to Leeds and I was like, thank fuck, chill out. And then, because by the time I go back,
was anyone looking at you or anything? Like,
I see it first. I was pure para about like when I was driving, like when I was coming out of the car park and then, or the street, and then when I was stopping at lights and stuff, I was pure self-conscious. And then I just thought, I'm just going to need to ignore, like, because people will probably be looking.
Yeah.
And I just need to, because I instinctively,
yeah,
instinctively, you kind of like you feel something looking at you, and I was like, kind of like, oh fuck, like, you know. But I'm like, constantly going to need to look, and I'm just going to need, because it's going to just get me more para the more I think about
and
it.
I think you'd get raging at people for looking at you. I reckon.
I was
getting.
getting,
I know
I'd
it's
love to see
fucking
footage
smashed.
of
I
that.
was so it took ages to get on the motorway for Liverpool just because of the traffic, and I was just so, cause I'm just so like just getting on that motorway.
Imagine how psycho it would look. You know that fucking embarrassing thing you told us a few weeks ago where you were pretending to swerve into the women. Imagine doing that with a smashed fucking
Well,
windscreen.
I did think like I'm going, God, I'm going to be getting judged here because they're going to think that this is something to do with my driving. Even though they don't know I've been the victim of a crime.
It's actually to do with my parking.
Yes, exactly. But so I got there, done the gig, but I was just waiting about for, like, it was quite a long day because I just wanted to get there as soon as possible. So I just did to kick about Leeds for ages. Just went walking in the park, fucking went for something to eat, watched the Arsenal game and all this shit. I was fucking just knackered and stressed and everything. Done the gig and then just straight back 4 hours up the road. But because it was night time by then, I was like, again,
Quieter.
once I got out of Leeds and back in the motorway, I'm like, right, I'm fine. But I only had one stop in me because I thought, I don't want to like risk going to a service station and then the police drive up.
Yeah.
So I had to like kind of, and funny enough, I was running out of petrol in 5 minutes before I got to like a service station about 5 miles away. The only police I seen the entire time was on like a bridge, like kind of over past bridge. And I'm like, fuck, see if they've seen this. And then I'm like, if I've got 5 minutes to make it to the service station to get petrol, but I'm like, what if they start fucking chasing me or something? But again, it's on my fucking head, really never seen anything. But anyway, got up the road and it was fine. But I was just, and I counted myself lucky that, like, because even if they'd like slashed the tyres or some shit like that, I'd have been fucked.
Yeah.
So I was lucky I got up the road and lucky I never get fucking caught for it, which I didn't, by the way, do because this is all parody. But
You don't have like would AA not like fix it or something?
no, because I did phone them, but it's Autoglass that deal with it, and that's all through the insurer and stuff. So I think the only thing that I could have done, and I did contemplate this, was, I mean, basically, if you'd sort of slashed your own tyre or you just said there was some sort of breakdown, they could come up and tow you.
Drive it home.
Because technically it probably isn't safe, and they probably would need to do that, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
But I didn't. Thankfully, didn't need to come to that. and I got back up the road safe.
Can
But
you tow me to my gig in Leeds and then drive me up the road?
I know, well, that's the other thing as well, isn't it? Because I'm like, fuck, did I cancel the gig and all this sort of stuff?
And
So
that was your solo show in Leeds as well?
a solo show, aye.
So you couldn't cancel it?
I didn't want to cancel it, obviously. I mean, at that there was a point where I'm contemplating it because I'm just like, everything's kind of fucked here. If I just thought I'm stranded in Liverpool, but no, thankfully get back up the road, and as I say, I guess I've got to fucking count my lucky blessings that it wasn't anything worse.
Was there no CCTV outside of this place? Or
I'm
anything?
sure there probably maybe is some, but I mean, what's that? What good's that going to do me? It's not going to get me back up the road, is it? Do you know what I mean?
I know, but fucking get a bit of revenge on these cunts.
I think it's just one of the ones you just sort of take your lumps and go, I'll just make sure not to do that next time. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
That was a gig.
The Leeds one or
Yeah.
Liverpool? Leeds was good. Leeds was really nice, and Hyde Park Book Club, very nice. Wee room there and lovely crowd and all that sort of stuff. So it's been good. It's been nice to go about and do my own shows to my own audience and all that kind of stuff. And aye, been fun.
Yeah.
Where else? Manchester was good as well.
Where did you do?
Done a place called the room's called Cultiplex, so it was like a wee sort of cinema room almost. But it was really nice and fun. And then there was a Newcastle last weekend as well. Stand. Gareth Much was on.
Some boy.
Done the weekend as
He's
well.
a good boy, Gary Munch.
Gary Munch. I've still got him saved in my phone, as I was telling him the other day, because that's what Tom Stade called him once.
Gary Munch.
And then, but I was telling him the other day, I went to phone him once about something, and I'm like, I'm sure I've got Gareth's number. I couldn't find it. It's because I had him saved as Gary Munch. But Gary Munch was very, very good company.
Yeah.
For the weekend, opened for me as well, so it was fun. But how have you boys been? What you've been up to?
I think
Working.
we've been doing the radio show that's now
That's right.
finished.
Been good fun,
Thank
innit,
fuck for
Stevie?
that.
Working together.
Aye, it's been good. I've been working on a little program called the Balamori.
Oh, aye. Can you talk about this?
I don't know, probably not.
Right.
I'm
Writing
scripting
for
at
it.
the scripting stage. I'm writing for it
Have you got a full episode to yourself?
too.
Wow. How do you find writing for kids' TV? Because I've always been interested in this when it comes to pitching stuff for kids' TV. Even, I always think about this with teachers, right? Like, see if you're marking a certain year of school, right? Like primary 5 or whatever. How do you kind of know what the level should be
Yeah, I've
for
been
them
thinking this as well.
versus a primary 6 or, something in high school or whatever?
Aye.
Like, 'cause if you're marking an English paper, you're like, obviously this is shite.
It's all shite.
But it's like there's
Some
a
of the
certain,
better shite.
some of the better
class, yeah.
shite, and that's too shite that it should, you for your age you shouldn't be as shite.
Aye.
But
I'm afraid you're shite for your age.
you're not going to be, as
You're
good
a
as somebody
shite
that's.
5-year-old.
Well,
Yeah,
teachers will have a knowledge of that we don't.
Yeah.
I do wonder
and
that.
be
Well,
it-
sound off in the comments,
Parents.
any teachers I would like to hear about that.
It is difficult though because some parts of it are genuinely harder than doing a normal script, and some parts of it are easier. It's weird.
Right.
So like
An adult script, I would say.
an adult script.
Porno.
Don't, say,
Did a
don't label all kids as not
Allegory
normal.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can't really say adult script either. Just a script for maybe an older audience.
Okay,
let's
sure.
say. Because like
What is the age bracket for Balamori?
3 to 6,
That's young.
which is quite a spread.
I remember watching Balamori older than that. Because I had a younger sister, I watched a lot of
I've
more
got to say,
childish stuff,
I don't think I ever watched it.
No, I think it was just after our time.
Was
I think
it?
it was about maybe.
Because I've got a younger sister, I think I caught the tail end of it.
Well,
Yeah.
I do as well, but we were a Nickelodeon household, really. Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. Occasionally we had Disney, not always,
we
but
didn't have Sky until I was a bit older.
aye. See, I was never because I always remember like people that would watch like the BBC stuff. It was all Englishy stuff, and I thought it was dead
Yeah.
weird. Whereas,
What's that mad one where they rub the 50p, the Queen's
yeah.
nose?
aye.
Bernard's Watch as well.
Bernard's
Ah, that-
Watch, I never really. It was never on in my house, but I remember seeing it and going, "You can't know think about Bernard's. I think about it all the time still." Bernard's
So,
Watch.
You can't. That's a great.
You
quote.
can't know
You
Hinky
can't
Bernard.
know Hinky Bernard's Watch.
I tell you what,
I
see if
think
I
you
had,
can.
see if I had fucking Bernard's Watch when I was trying to drive up the road with a smashed windscreen, it'd have been fucking no bother at all.
Christopher Nolan's made a fucking career out of thinking of Bernard's Watch, by the way.
What is? I know. What is fucking Inception and fucking what's that one that
Tenet.
go to
Tenet.
space?
Yeah.
What's the one that go to space? and
Interstellar.
That's all just Bernard's watch.
It's Bernard's watch. Everything to a greater or lesser extent is Bernard's watch.
I never watched Bernard's Watch, so this is lost on me.
Do you know
So
what-
I don't think
Do
I
you know
will.
anything about him?
I take it from what I gathered, he can turn back time with his watch.
No, he can stop time with his watch. I don't know if he can turn it back, can he? I don't think so. He can stop time.
Right, okay.
But this
What's
is
Click, the Adam Sandler movie? What's that about?
A remote control that can do everything that a remote control
Right,
can do,
okay.
but for real life.
I
You
don't
can
think I've seen the
pause, you
film. I
can
think I saw the
fast
trailer
forward.
where he pauses it to like look at a girl's tits or something.
Aye.
That's the only thing.
see
I know about
that's
film.
where him
Horny
and
Bernard's watch.
That's what-
Adult Bernard's watch.
yes, yeah. That's what him and Bernard differ though, because Bernard could only pause to look at tits, even when he was old enough. But he would, he couldn't rewind or fast forward. But this is interesting actually, because see if you think about it. How does it work? I wonder if this was ever explained in the Bernard's Watch
We're
universe,
in the
right?
writing room.
In the cinematic universe. Because see if he paused like time for like a year, does he still age in that time when time is paused?
Well,
What's
in,
your Shyamalan
in
twist,
the
Steve?
movie
I'm gonna-
Click,
Oh,
that's
is this covered in that?
well, that's covered in that. I don't know about
Click's a
Bernard's
kind of
Watch.
sequel to Bernard's watch.
Sorry,
But
it's
Click
the
was a load of
Americanized
pish.
remix.
But Click, it was like it kind of. I think it was like almost like an algorithm where it picked up what he was doing. So every so often it would just fast forward when he's not fast forwarding because it's trying to pick up
It's
what he would
compensate.
fast forward
Oh,
for.
that's confusing.
So then at the end of his life, he's like, "Oh, I've missed all my life," and it's like, "Well, yeah, you fast forwarded it, you cunt."
And can he not go back though?
And then I think it's one of these things where it's like, "Oh, actually, it was all a dream." So you can live your life. And he's like, "Oh, thank God." Something like that. I don't
Sounds
know.
great.
Imagine pitching this right as a telly show to the BBC. And Bernard's watch, the watch is given to Bernard Beasley, a young boy who's always late, by a mysterious postman.
Yeah, no need to delve into that.
Just brush over that. Bernard was a wee boy. I'm picturing
When you
an,
think about
an
some of the
old
notes we've
man.
been getting, Steve, and that's all right.
A
That's fine,
mysterious
is it?
postman.
Yeah.
What's the backstory of this postman? Mysterious.
They're mysterious by design, Postman, I think.
Don't worry about the postman.
And also, but the thing is, why did the postie know? He must have been retiring, because surely that's how you get round his round, by stopping time and fucking delivering all the letters.
Maybe that was what it was.
Aye, but he's
We got to
he's
watch
getting
it
to this
on
wee
the
boy.
Bernard's watch, I reckon. It's
Yeah.
I think
covered.
this postie's a pedo.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but I was thinking that as well.
So what he can pause it and then everything's paused in life and then he just can do whatever and then
Can't
unpause it.
about. I think so.
So what's the whole bit like?
I must
how
admit, I've not seen it for a while.
how does this help him on his wee journeys? What?
Well, he's not a postman.
Well, he's cheating on his exams and all that sort of stuff.
Right. Okay. So it's
He's at it.
a wee boy who can pause time. What does he get up to?
Aye, it's like every episode is imagine you could stop time in this
Wouldn't that
scenario.
be mental?
You score the
Aye.
winning goal. You fucking you find the answers to your exam paper and all this sort of stuff.
So what would he hit a shot, pause it, move the goalkeeper to the
Aye.
side, and then unpause it, and it would go.
Tie
in?
the goalie's
I'm
laces
sure.
together.
I'm sure there's an episode that happens.
Right.
There
This-
can he not be?
This is interesting though. The concept of the show formed the basis from one.
Black
Basically, it's
Mirror.
from one of the not far off. One of the most famous episodes of the Twilight Zone,
Right.
entitled "A Kind of Stopwatch." First broadcast in 1963. There you go. So it was like a
All
night.
sci-fi's the same, and it's all that.
Yeah. So it was
Yeah.
like 90s rebrand of something for the 60s. It was like Oasis, then fucking Beatles covers.
What do you think about the trend of it being, the sort of infinite timeline,
Multiverse stuff.
multiverse sort of shit? That's very in vogue. These
Well,
days.
I've seen Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah,
But apart from
so
that,
have I.
what are you referring to? What stuff?
There's one in Black Mirror. There's Everything Everywhere All at Once. There's the Spider-Verse. There's a thing in Marvel that does it.
Here's my take on it, Steve. I'm not interested.
A load of pish. A
Yeah, I'm
load
just
of
not that
rubbish.
bothered about it.
Do you think it can actually
Does it
Be-
exist?
be a thing?
Yeah.
Because if every sort of possible universe can happen, like every situation can happen, this exact thing's happening in a different universe, but I'm sitting in the yellow chair.
Yeah. Every single thing is slightly different happening.
Yeah, well,
Right.
that's where it's like it fries your brain, because like every single atom would need to be different. It's like imagine every single wee speck of this chair could be red, but each individual one could be red, and there's a different universe for every single part of that. It's just
this is the exact same apart from there's like an ink stain on that.
I
is
don't
the difference.
believe it. I think it's ridiculous.
A load
But
of shit.
I do think there might be alternative
Because
universes.
is
in
there
the rest
a universe where I've got the biggest
Dong in the world.
biggest dong in the world,
and
but
we're living in it, baby.
luckily enough for me.
Yeah, must feel good.
But like,
There's not enough space in the universe for it anymore.
but then there's
Taking
also
up half
one.
the atoms with that thing.
It's not just the universe that's expanding. If you guys should.
Well, the biggest dick in the world could be the size of the Empire State Building, which in this world, which then you couldn't physically carry that
It
around.
would be a
with
tourist attraction.
you. Certainly would. Certainly would. But that
Have
can't.
King Kong climbing up it.
If you drop a penny off of Steve's dick, it will kill someone if it hits somebody down below.
I mean that because you thought like it is possible. It's possible also that your
But it's-
dick is the Empire State Building.
But it's not possible because you can't carry that around with you. I couldn't be this size and carry an
Alicia
Empire
Keys is
State.
writing songs about it.
When you open the door, they should do.
You know what I mean? So there's like
Do I look at my concrete jungle?
I shaved my concrete jungle to make my dick look bigger.
but that's physically
I don't
couldn't
think Neil
happen.
deGrasse Tyson gets here when he's talking about infinite universes.
He'd be out of his depth in this podcast.
But I mean, is there's things that what's the word? It's like it makes that impossible. There's
God. This is where we need Neil deGrasse, actually.
I know. Come back, Neil. Always forgive. I don't know, but it's like, there's no possible. Basically, is what you're trying to get at.
yeah.
No, hold
Yeah.
on. What,
And
no, let's
practical?
get into this. I don't get it. What do you mean?
You know, like you've got a theory, but it's disproved by this other thing.
Debunked.
No, but it's like I don't know. It's not possible for that to happen.
Right.
There can't be infinite universes because in certain situations there's things that are impossible. So that inherently can't be true. That there's infinite universes. you
Right.
know?
Okay. I
Do you
mean, I know what I understand what you're saying. Phoebe.
Because if anything is possible in any sort of universe, we could all have nipples the size of the Empire State Building, and we could
Steve's got a great
physically.
imagination in this universe.
have you been watching a lot of TikToks at the Empire State Building? Or something?
I'll be watching the new series of Baltimore. Let's just put it that
Cutting a bit with Empire State Building, hanging off. Anyway, like that's, do you know what I mean? Like that isn't possible for all of us to have Empire State Building sized nipples.
Why is
So-
it not possible though?
Yeah,
Because you can't physically carry around big.
But maybe there's a
Empire
universe where everyone just sort of suffers from having to,
'Cause the
like,
nips
from
are so big.
failing to be able to
Aye.
go about their business because they've got the Empire State Building.
That
Nipple.
might be true, but there's also a universe where this is the exact same, apart from my nipples or the Empire State Building. Everything is the exact same. That is one of the
And they're the
possibilities.
size
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
Empire State Building, not a scaled
The-
down Empire State
So is
Building.
your,
No,
is your
the
argument
size.
that you at 5 foot, whatever
Five-
you
Five
are,
foot five and a
I
half.
know.
you couldn't have nipples the size of the Empire State Building because
Because
you'd be
it-
crushed by it.
Yes.
Well,
And
it'd
I
be-
couldn't
the
live
Empire
my
State
life.
Building would be on its side, and you'd be attached to the end of it, lying down.
Yeah.
But then I
It's
couldn't.
no you I feel
And you
sorry
would
for.
die.
It's your mom, bloody popping you out.
Exactly. Exactly. And I couldn't be in this studio with.
We need to have the door open at least.
a bigger door than that.
It'd be
Like-
hard not to talk about every episode, wouldn't it?
Steve, what have you been up to this week? Just dragging my fucking
Fucking my
nipples
nipples
around.
around.
Jacob Hawley's there getting interviewed, not getting a fucking word in because you're just talking about your nips.
Yeah, I mean that is. I would honestly say if infinite universes do exist, that is not one of them.
That's what. Well, there has to be. It's infinite.
Yeah.
So is this your point that if it is infinite, that means absolutely everything?
Every
But you
single
couldn't have that.
variation of every possibility is true, but there's some things that inherently cannot be possible. So there cannot be infinite universes.
Is there any
so it's infinite
scientific?
within
I
the
think
laws
I've
of physics.
I think I've disproved the infinite universe.
Well,
That's
thing.
pretty good.
I'm pretty
else you
sure
got
that guys like your Neil deGrasse Tyson and
Do you think
whatnot.
he's had that thought?
I think that
What's his deal, man? He
I-
seems like a fan of that guy.
I was I was listening to him on a podcast the other day. Actually, I'd never really. He's always popping up on.
He used to be really annoying on Twitter. That's the only thing I know about.
Yeah, he's always popping up on these sort of popular podcasts. But I think he's sort of there, Brian Cox or something. I would say like just popularising science shit basically and like unit stuff about the universe and all that. It was interesting. He was saying some interesting stuff that I cannot fucking remember now. But I would assume that he has popularised as well as the Marvel films, which I'm pretty sure is the whole plot is about multiverses and stuff. But I'd imagine he's popularised like the theories that suggest that infinite universe might exist. I'm actually just going to Google it and see, is there any basis behind it? The infinite universe theory proposes that the universe is spatially and temporally defined, blah, blah, blah. We know this.
We know this.
We know this.
I've already
Me and
covered
Steve
that.
could be telling you this right now.
Yeah,
Ex-
easy peasy.
Is
I
there
don't need AI overview to tell you that.
evidence? Is there?
There's a universe where that works.
There
If you
is.
can believe it.
There is.
It says that current cosmological models, observations, and arguments suggest a high likelihood of an infinite universe. The evidence for an infinite universe is largely indirect and based on theoretical arguments and observations of the universe's structure and behaviour. And by the way, one of the evidence, and I have seen this phrase before, is called cosmic microwave background, or is it shortened to CMB? So there you go.
There you go.
Which I think is
I
something to do
knew
with the
he
Big
was a
Bang.
lizard.
But there you go. But yeah, fuck knows. Maybe one day we can get Brian Cox on the podcast. And he can
If there
explain all this
is
shit to us.
infinite universes, where do you think this is in the league table? Feels kind of shite, doesn't it? Relegation places.
Well,
Mid,
no,
I'd say mid.
no,
mid
because
table.
there would be like even just Earths that they didn't come up with
Didn't
electricity.
even have podcasts.
They didn't even have podcasts and fire
their
and all
life.
that. But then there's probably ones that are above us that like Donald
There's
Trump
ones
didn't get
where-
elected and all this kind of
There's
stuff.
ones where we've got millions of Patreon subscribers. How gutted.
Listen, that could still be. That might just be a wee bit in the future.
Still, the
Maybe.
best thing you can think of is just this going better.
That's the best thing I can think. By the way, Bernard's watch. It turns out that he doesn't age when he stops it,
Oh, it doesn't.
and it also says that he doesn't use it for crime or to hurt anyone, which I
Yet.
assume would have changed when he hit puberty.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
But
It's time
I-
for a gritty Bernard's watch.
yeah, I do see what I like about the chat about stuff like infinite universes or like different dimensions or even aliens and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I think it sort of functions as escapism to an extent. It does seem like this. It's a sort of kind of thing. It's like bros are into. It's kind of roguey. I think the reason that women aren't into aliens as much is because they're all under 6 foot. But the come on, that's very good. Oh no, it's not the audience
they?
for it. Yeah, they're all wee. The
Yeah, I
aliens.
guess they are.
Aliens on
Yeah,
the
yeah, they're all small. They're small.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Who told you that?
That's the thing about aliens. They're wee. They're wee.
What's
people.
ET short for? He's got little legs.
Aye, that's one alien.
There you go.
There's
That's
an
one
actual joke.
No, but that's-
not
You
mine.
get 6 foot big, creepy.
The way that they're described in fucking
That is
Roswell.
true.
and
Why
all
is that though? That's like a. Oh, are you talking now about like in the actual files and stuff? The
A part of this is,
or
but
is it
it's what
still
they say.
sci-fi? We're talking
It's
about?
well, both probably.
I've never heard of aliens being wee. That's not a trope I've heard of.
I know compared to you, but the
You can never resist.
that is it. That is a thing. It's the same way that they're meant to be green and got big eyes and all that stuff. It's like they're small people.
I wouldn't say that. You know how when you think of vampires, you go garlic, wooden stake, silver, like that.
Yeah,
those
yeah,
things.
Those are
Silver?
your
Silver.
family fortunes.
Yeah, that's your top answers. If you were doing family fortunes for alien, I wouldn't say
Green.
small.
That's my first one.
I
Green, big eyes.
It's definitely in the
daft
top
head.
5. Defo top 5.
Came out of spaceship.
Small? I wouldn't
Yeah.
say small.
It's
No
interesting.
way.
If you hadn't said it to me, I don't know if I'd have thought of small.
Right,
No.
hang on a wee minute.
Never. That's not one of their top characteristics.
I'm not saying it is. See, when it first came out, like the first idea of extraterrestrials and Roswell and all that stuff, they were described as small people. Aliens.
That's my new sci-fi idea: is an alien comes to this planet from outer space,
Little
and
green
tries
men.
to fuck, so it pretends that it's tall in its home planet.
That was a
lies
thing.
about its age on Tinder.
Thank you, Wikipedia. Little green men is the stereotypical portrayal of extraterrestrials as little humanoids with green skin and sometimes antennas on their head. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
There you go.
fair enough. I mean, I'm not picturing a tall one. To be fair, I just don't know if I'd have thought of that.
I'm picturing a tall one.
You're looking up to this guy.
I'm looking up to this guy.
The ones in The Simpsons will seem quite tall to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. The Simpsons.
That's not your stereotypical alien, though.
But they tick the other boxes.
They're not-
They're green. They got antennas.
No, they don't have big fucking. They're not in these sort of big sort of plastic tubes that Ken and Kodos are in.
I prefer. I don't like the mainstream aliens. I prefer kind of unique sort of indie.
Well, I am
aliens.
stereotyping aliens here by suggesting that
Yeah,
they're all
which is
under
toxic,
6
by the
foot.
way.
So it's
Yeah.
toxic.
Toxic
Toxic
behaviour.
humanity.
And also, height is actually a protected characteristic.
At least
so-
on this planet.
and not on this planet. Maybe not in.
Well, I want
planet
to live in a
Zork.
universe where it fucking isn't. What do you
So-
mean? A protected character? Is that one you
I
can't?
can, I can get
hate
you done for
speech humor.
harassment if you call me small again. You piece of shit.
Well, I just need to stop my watch and then call you so you can do it about it.
It's,
Much like I'm presuming Bernard did in his teens. You're going to ladies' changing room, which I'm also pretty sure was.
That
a-
was always a fucking like.
I'm
plot point,
sure
wasn't
that
it,
was an
back in the
episode of
day?
Bernard's Watch where he does that, but maybe not.
What, looked at titties?
Different time. But anyway. Maybe he was doing it by accident. I don't know. But anyway,
What age was this guy?
it started when he was like 10 and 11, but it was on
Yeah.
for a good couple of years.
I mean, what age did you start getting interested in that sort of thing? 12?
What sci-fi?
No, titties.
Around then, I suppose.
12 maybe.
Probably.
Yeah, something like that.
13.
You're probably. It's like you do the theory first. You're interested a little earlier than it's happening in your life.
Yeah, you don't really know why.
Yeah, you're confused.
Yeah.
I don't. Well, in saying that, I remember distinctly in primary school, there was maybe like a wee P5 who said that he fancied the boobies.
He fancied
in general.
boobies.
He fancied. That's what he
All.
fancied. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, it'd be like, who do you fancy? And he'd say boobies.
And that was none of them were even the size of the Empire State Building.
What's he up to these days?
I don't even know. He was just a wee weird.
I'm glad
guy.
he didn't have Bernard's watch.
For all we know.
I watched the show last night on Channel 4 called Virgin Island. Have you seen that?
Oh no, but I think I would enjoy it.
What is it?
You can't get on it.
What?
You need to be a
You need to be a
virgin.
virgin.
I can watch it. I
You
can
can
hear
do
it.
the
I can,
teaching.
I can find out what's happening on it. Surely.
We only watched the first ep and I was sort of drifting off to it, but it was good value.
Was it?
It felt like a Channel 4 show from like 25 years ago.
So, presumably, they find a bunch of virgins, put them on an island.
Like Love Island for
There's your,
virgins.
and it's like that would have been the pitch. And it's like sold. I'll take all that you got.
by a mysterious postman. We're giving some Johnnies. So what happens then? What's
Well, as I say, I've only seen it once. Have you seen it, Steve?
Nah, but I've seen the advert.
I recommend it.
Channel 5?
4.
4?
Seems like a Channel
It does
5.
seem like, it seems like sort of
It's
thing,
Channel
as you
5
say,
coded.
it had been on Channel 4 20 years ago and it's now moved to Channel 5 as a
now.
reboot. Yeah, yeah.
It kind of feels like they've done. I feel like there's been a lot of revisionism.
on Virgin Island. Ian's not doing the voiceover, is he not?
It's the opposite of that.
Is it?
Basically, yeah, virgins who are like, I don't know, like they're like older virgins. So,
Oh,
like,
right.
they're not like crazy old, but they're like,
30, 40.
I don't even know if they're that. But there was one that was 29 at least. But so they're like adults,
Right,
and obviously they've all got a bit of a thing, like some hang up about sex that's just not happened yet. And
right.
Are they good looking or uggos? Mixture.
Mixture. It's not. None of that is ever commented on really.
Right.
Right.
But they don't look like they're on Love Island.
Are the
No.
guys incels?
They don't appear to be in cells to
Okay.
my eye, but I've only seen
No.
one. But they're
Is
kind
there
of
anyone in there you're going like, how are they still a virgin? No, really.
not hugely.
No.
I mean, I don't want to offend these people, but not hugely.
So, yeah.
It's not.
Is there any of them?
You're also like, you're always surprised that like someone has it, and do you know what I mean?
Totally.
Because it's out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
So it's you get the sense that they've kind of, they've got hang-ups or something. There's something going on there.
Aye.
And then the idea is that there's like 4 or 5 of these kind of expert people that are trying to sort of make them open up and be ready to do that with someone.
We're better than a hot island.
Yeah, horny vibes.
Are they like bad, just terrible personalities, or what's wrong with these freaks?
I feel like
Is there a kind of sob
I
story
don't
behind
know.
them? Because I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people who probably have some sort of trauma.
I think there probably will be. I've not seen enough yet.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
feel
want to
bad
like.
for
I don't want to
saying
like
that.
slag this off, and then it's like a really heartwarming thing.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry,
sure.
guys.
I think they will be traumatic, but you think they would need a good mixture of like some guy that's
Yeah.
just pure, designed his own fucking universe on fucking, I don't know, some computer game, and so he's never had the time to go it, and then there's somebody who's
Yeah, someone's just down in their luck. They've
Yeah, I
just-
think there's a bit of that, and there's a bit of just like really shy people, and like, yeah, I don't know, mate. It's kind of interesting because the one last night there was this guy who's like quite good value, like he's just very up for like everyone else is really shy, but they make them do like kind of tasks. So one of them is like you need to write down your sexual fantasy and read it out, and the whole time, by the way, it's like this is being presented as like a sort of modern, empathetic.
Aye.
Like telly's more empathetic than it was 20 years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
we'd be pointing and laughing at them 20 years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
But it's still like
It's meant to
it
sort of
is
help
funny
them.
though.
It's
do you
like
know what I mean?
helping
Yeah.
them through, and the end goal is for them to get over the
Yeah,
hang-ups. Kind
yeah.
of thing.
It feels a bit like you remember Educate in Yorkshire where the guy had a stammer and then he couldn't speak and then he learned to speak and he did that speech and it was
Yeah.
really emotional.
yeah.
It feels like we're gonna watch someone get a hand job or something and that's gonna be that moment.
Gonna
I
see
know-
someone fucking.
I take it, yeah. I take it
Wiping
it's
a
not
tear
like
from your eye.
there's no like a win. It's not like Love Island was like a winner at the end who like, shagged
Who fucks the
most.
most? Yeah.
Also, do you think someone, and obviously it's going to be a guy, is there anyone who's just pretending to be a virgin so he can try and shag some people?
No, I don't get that impression.
Okay.
Anyway,
Because
I don't know
there's
how
no way
you
to
can prove it. Yeah, but there's also this. So that guy, he was like, everyone's like sharing their stories and they're kind of playing it off as a joke and that because it's so embarrassing. But he does like quite a elaborate one, and then there's kind of like an older, like quite nice older lady on it. She's not a virgin. She's one of the expert people, and her thing is like, I'm trying to get you to open up. So like they touch them and stuff. And she's like kissing him and like fucking chewing his beard and
What
stuff.
the expert is?
Aye, it's kind of
Really?
odd to watch because you're like, well, this must be okay, but
yeah.
because there's another one where it's like a younger girl. She's not like young.
Are
but-
the presenters Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, it's
When
like
was
they've
this
not heard
recorded?
about dodgy sexual practices specifically on islands.
I mean, to be fair, if they did want people to have sex for the first time, they should have taken them to Epstein's Island. That's the perfect
alive.
place.
Jesus Christ.
I want to distance myself from that.
Yeah.
I'll be watching it again. It's interesting, but it's kind of like it is both. I think, and tellies are like that sometimes now, where it's like this is empathetically portrayed, but also it is obviously edited for laughs. Sometimes I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, so let's go back to this expert thing because that's weird to
So
me.
there's like
That can't be.
So there's one where it's like I don't know how old she is, but she's like a girl in her 20s, and then there's like a guy who's like an older guy, and he's just like, I'm just gonna touch you here. How do you feel about that? And he's like moving his hand up at her leg and stuff, and you're like, all right. Like I felt kind of weird watching it, but
Yeah.
it's not
that's-
presented as if that's a weird thing. It's like
No.
this is a job these people have that they are emotional coordinators or whatever you would call it,
Alright.
physical intimacy kind of thing.
Who books that gig? I wonder
Yeah.
if they're hiring.
Just next season, you see yours, one of the experts.
Bernard's watch is back.
Bernard's Swatch. But
That's pretty funny to be fair. Would
But-
recommend. Kind of funny.
that sounds good to me. Aye, like well, it sounds
I
like
watched one of the Channel 4 ones called Open House. Have you seen that?
No.
I think it's like basically couples who want to start to go into open relationships or like
Oh.
experiment and shag around a wee bit.
Uh-huh.
Interesting.
And there's different couples that are there, but there's also in-house experts, I suppose, who, get them out of their comfort zone. Sometimes they both want to shag someone. Sometimes a guy just wants to watch, and it's quite a laugh,
Yeah,
bit of a laugh.
you and Catherine watching this together. He's,
No, I mean, we're not.
They invited
thinking
us
about
round,
it.
which I thought was weird.
We're not thinking about it,
no.
but it was just interesting to watch.
Mhm.
Yeah. Is that a new show as well?
It's been out for a while, I think. So
Do you not just think though, like those experts, which is like, yeah, you see them on the TV, and there's like they make sense in the show, but what are they doing?
But their personal
What's their
like,
actual job? Do you know what I mean? Is that a job in the world, or is it made up for telly?
I
Are
think
they an expert? I don't know.
Probably some sort of at the least adjacent thing that
You
they
would think
do.
so, wouldn't you?
But
Yeah.
I always think it's like, you know how there's certain people believe that like the folk that get into therapy, like therapists, are a lot of times mental, enough for mental backgrounds, like their own lives are kind of fucked.
Yeah.
You would wonder what, like, if you're some mad sex expert, like how do you just have like a normal marriage or whatever, and then you're like going and fucking your job's to fucking feel some lass's leg or whatever the fuck, do you know what I mean?
I know.
I just
Yeah.
feel like
It
it's
was work today, honey.
exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know, and like, and what's I don't. It's like a weird. It's just interesting to me how
Yeah.
that would work. But you know, speaking of open relationships, I'll tell you this: I watched on Netflix the other night the Fred and Rose West documentary.
Did they have an open
They
relationship?
certainly did.
Did
And well,
They were unconventional, those two.
I
They
mean,
had an
they were-
alternative lifestyle.
They're ahead of their time in some ways, right? Because here's the thing, right? I would say not dissimilar to Harold Shipman or a few of these other ones you would always hear referred to these serial killers. I didn't really know anything about Fred and Rose West,
No,
and I watched the documentary. So do you
It's
know?
not.
It's
I
a
don't know the
reference that I've heard more through stand up than anything else.
Yes, there's
People
very-
love saying that people look like Fred and Rose West.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
fucking
Cheap
Harold
laugh.
Shipman, and like that's a common thing. Right? So that's what I think.
I've heard more about Harold Shipman because
Myra Hindley is the other one.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I couldn't tell you anything about her
She's
really.
the one with the blonde bob picture. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I know that obviously, you know, again, a lot of fucking rival podcasts are solely about these people, right?
Yeah.
But the Fred and Rose West one, right? So
The
they're in,
Moors murderers.
no, that's a different thing as well.
Okay. fuck's
But they were in Gloucester, right? And so they just live in this fucking random just house in a wee neighbourhood. What was mad, right? Their fucking daughter has been missing for like 6 years or something, and apparently they would joke going, oh, like to the other kids, oh, if you misbehave, you're going to end up under the patio like your fucking sister. That was like what they would say to their kids on misbehaving. That's where the fucking sister was, right?
Yeah,
And
they
then
weren't
so-
normal.
Yeah.
So, however it happened that they fucking found out, like, you know, she was missing and might be there. So they dig under the patio. Fred's like, I fucking did it. And he fucking gets arrested on it. But then they just keep going like that. Then they find other bones and they're like, oh, there's a more. And he's like, there's two more. And then they keep taking him back to the patio to like, and he's just there like, he looks, to be honest, he looks a bit like a more fucked Stephen Graham in adolescence. Like, he's sort of just pointing out, like, there. And then at one point, they go, is there any more? And he just goes, yeah, there's fucking loads more. And
Is
it's
this
like,
a drama we're talking about?
it's a
Did they make
documentary.
drama? Right.
it's got all the, so it's got all the foot, so they've got police footage of him.
Oh, right. I
fucking
didn't think they'd
pointing
have
out and all
footage of
stuff.
that.
And is he in handcuffs? I take it.
I don't think he's actually in handcuffs, I think, but he's in police custody. But he's in jail.
Just
He's been in,
standing.
He's
like-
in hot water.
yeah. But he, what's mad? Well, to be honest, the one thing I would say about him, he was very cooperative with the police. You've got to hand that to Fred West. He fucking
Say what you
copped,
want about the boy.
he copped to basically all of it. But
Chat
then,
shit, get banged. You know?
yeah, but then it turns out the reason he has been so cooperative, right, is because he's trying to implicate himself in everything and kid on that Rose West didn't know that he had buried 9 bodies in
She's
their
daft,
garden.
my wife. She don't know.
She's an idiot.
Yeah, but then,
So that's good. I mean, say what you want. That's quite lovely as well. Try to protect
Yeah,
his
sweet
wife.
guy.
well, not when you find out what she fucking did, because she was in and all of it basically. And then this is the weird thing that they, well, no, the whole thing's weird, but they, like, he met her when she was 15, apparently waited 3 months and then took her on the first date. Like, aye, you know, likely story, you know.
3 months until she was 16.
Aye, before they went on the first date. Very good.
What a gentleman.
I'm sure he done that, right? But
He was on clicks, prison fast forward.
yeah. Say like, you know, I'll hear anything you want about Fred West, but he's not a pedo.
That's one thing that he's not.
But then, but do you know what they would do? But
See, to be fair, I don't think he would lie about that.
why would
Like-
you not lie about it? Obviously lied about it.
But why? But after admitting to like, oh, I've killed all these people, but I didn't go out with her before she was 16. Like, why would they?
I'm pretty sure if they'd pressed
why
him
would they
enough,
draw the line
I
there?
think they're like, all right, we're not going to We've got bigger
We've
fish to
got enough
fry
stuff
here.
going on.
Exactly. So why would they lie about it? No,
I
I'm
can
not
see
saying
why
that-
you would lie about that.
I can see why you lie about it.
I mean, but it doesn't make any sense.
See my wholesome wife that I love.
I can't even decide which one of you two stick it up more for Fred West. Just unusually.
But so what he had done, right? So like he obviously had at some point coerced her or whatever. So she was a prostitute and she would take guys back. But he had like in the same way that he'd done hundreds of mad shit to the house, but he'd like dug all this shit into like his bedroom wall into the next bedroom, and he had all these listening devices and cameras. So anytime she was unshagging somebody, he was sitting listening to it in the other room and maybe watching it as well. Probably back. They probably didn't have the technology of live stream at that point. But
You're still Twitch.
you know, but that was he was like list. So anytime she brought a guy back, he's like listening in and stuff.
Having a chug.
And then so her Rose
the question.
West's excuse. Yeah, of course, there's something. But Rose West's excuse as to why, like she didn't know about it apparently was because he was always sending her off with other men, and it was like, oh, anytime fucking, you know, he killed one of his women in the house and buried them in the patio, she was off shagging some other guy, and that's why they said that she never knew. But then people
So
think
was the patio constantly dug up,
must have fucking been,
or did they have to do it every time? So was it always a?
I thought like they never just sit and enjoy a drink on
Yeah.
the patio.
But then they had
Barbecue.
they had a mad fucked up cellar as well, and they had people
Oh,
in the
right.
cellar and all that stuff. Mate, it's fucking.
And he had kids.
A couple of the kids were the people that died, and in fact, the second lassie that
At
you
what
found.
point did someone smell a rat and all this?
Mate, but that's what I'm saying. It was like 6 years that this lassie had been missing. That was their daughter, and then they found out that she was in the fucking.
When
garden.
was this?
I think they got caught in the early. It was like 1992, 93 or something. But
Right.
mate, it's fucking nuts, man. But then the thing is, so no spoiler alert for anyone who's no seen it or doesn't know anything about him. But then it's like, so Rose West, right, then gets called into court, and fucking she walks by him, and like he like goes like, I try and like kind of touch her because he's not seen her in fucking ages, and she just dingies him. So she's obviously going to try and fling him under the bus to save herself.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I can't believe she's, and then so he's going to probably tell on her, and then he kills himself. So then it's fucked. But then so she gets done for everything. She's still in jail right now
All right.
because she was like, because there was one woman who they picked up, and they would pick up hitchhikers, and she got away and was alive. So she testified that Rose West was in the car.
Right.
So they were like, well, look, this is that. But that was like basically their only evidence that she, because Fred was covering her ass for the whole thing.
Right.
But then they, because of that, they're like, well, look, it's like, oh, circumstantial evidence, but it's like, there's 9 bodies buried in your fucking house, and you and
It
your
doesn't
man,
look
you and
good.
your man are up to hundreds of mad fucked up shit. You obviously knew about this.
Yeah.
Also, I think that they must have like still been recording stuff that she didn't realise, because they've got audio of her saying stuff like, I'm never confessing and blah blah blah. Like, but it seems like after, or maybe she didn't realise that Fred still had recording devices running, and then the police found it later or something. But I don't know, it's mental
There
anyway.
you go.
Yeah. Recommend.
It's good. It's a good documentary. It's sad, but
Yeah.
it's
How many parts?
3.
I can live
There's
with
one about Fred, one about Rose, and then one about the trial.
that. Nice.
So,
Yeah.
but it's one of those ones where you're like, it's like you say, it kind of fills a gap in your knowledge, because it's just one of these references you hear it. Because I don't know much about Shipman or whatever either. And it's like, it kind of fills that gap in your knowledge. I suppose that's why they podcasts are also popular now
Mm.
about all
Yeah.
these serial killers and stuff. But it was a good documentary. well
Maybe
put
that's
together.
maybe we should be a serial killer podcast.
Maybe we could pivot. Do they do a series of them?
Yeah.
Bible John, try and find them, etc.
Yeah.
I
Right.
laugh whenever I think of Fred West, because I think of during lockdown when there was no day in football stadiums, and you would get your like if you had a season ticket, you could get like a cardboard cutout of yourself at the game.
Aye.
There was one of him at West Ham. Someone, I think it was West Ham.
Aye,
they had
people done it
Fred
Bin
West, just
Laden. and all that.
bam ups. Yeah, that's the first thing I think about when I think of Fred West.
That's funny. Well, the Donald Trump. Somebody tweeted Donald Trump saying, "This is my mum and dad. They love you and all that. Can you retweet?" And he retweeted it. It's Fred and Rose. People used to just pure bat him up.
Twitter
all
was
the
great
time.
for that
I know.
when it was usable.
It's a shame. I know it's a shame that it's so unusable now. And
Yeah.
if Fred's and Blue Sky don't. I just think it's like it's not the
Threads is
same.
shite, innit?
It surprises me that we've spoken about this before. I think, but like, how's someone not just done a copy and paste to Twitter what it used to be.
Well, I think the problem is that they both kind of are, but it's it's like people are going to different
Split.
pubs. It's split.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So we should have just all decided on one to come on and run. But what are you going to do?
What are you gonna do?
Aye, but no, it's good. I would like to learn more about that because the one that I remember is standing out was Ian Huntley and thingy, who was remember the two twins that died.
Aye, that was
Ian Huntley and I can't
Brutal.
remember the woman's name, but that was like the first one I remember actually.
Yeah, that was when we were young.
happening when
was
we
that
were young.
Myra Hindley, no? Who
No,
was
no.
she with?
I can't mind.
The guy who people think Bible John is.
I don't think so. I'll have a look. Let's
Pe-
see. Let's quickly go. It's gonna be annoying people that know about
no.
shit.
No.
Um,
That same goes for any conversation we have.
That's
to be
true.
fair.
Aye. I think the other Moors murders, Myra Hindley.
And who's the guy?
Fuck knows. He looks, to be honest, quite handsome. To be honest, so does she. What you
Well, that's what they say about these people, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, do you know? Well, a friend of ours, right, who I'll tell you off air who it is if you don't know already, but they said that they are, because you know how Peter Tobin get done,
Peter Tobin.
and a lot of people think he was Bible John.
Yeah, that's what I was
See,
thinking.
back in the early 90s or something like that, or maybe before, apparently his mum was in some area in England or something where apparently some of these murders took place and they were hitchhiking and they got picked up in a truck, that, by Peter Tobin. And then he was about to take them off some weird bane and they're like, no, and he let them out. But that happened to their ma.
Alright.
And so they fucking got lucky, obviously, but I think when Peter Tobin then got done for killing that woman in the church or whatever, they were like, oh, and they were like,
is it in Anderston?
I can't
that-
remember what that one was.
There's a
but
mad church in like Anderston that I think he tried to kill somebody or he killed somebody.
yeah, he
there or
did. But they were like, oh, well, he picked us up years ago, and that's what made them think he might be Bible John. I don't know if that's, I think that might be disputed or whatever in terms of like people knowing if it's him or not, but he was always up to no good, basically, that fucking guy.
something. That's an
We
understatement.
won't hear. We won't be getting him on the podcast anytime soon. That's all I'm going to say.
No,
I think he's probably dead now. Peter Tobin, fuck knows.
I would imagine so.
You'd imagine so. Anyway,
Would love to have something light to end this ep on.
I know, bloody
Running
hell.
out of time, yeah.
Yeah.
The only other thing I watched on Netflix was the fucking Osama bin Laden documentary. So they did get him, to be fair.
They got him.
Died
Oh,
like a
did
dog. Well, there is dispute about that. Or people think he died a lot earlier, but I think it was probably right when they done. Well, I don't think it's right when they done, but I think when they told us they done it, is when it happened. Anyway,
Yeah.
where are we going for here?
Can we do like 5 on Winnie the Pooh or something? How do we get out of this?
Just tell us a Ballymore fucking
What is the story in Ballamore?
A man has been found under the patio in Ballymore. That'd be great to see Fred and Rose West moving in Ballymore. It takes a really dark turn. Because you know, like Fresh Prince and all these ones, they've all had like a sort of, like, they do a dramatic version of it and like a new thing. It'd be good to see a dramatic Ballymore where it's like a murder thing or something.
They done well. Lemmy done that.
Aye, what was
Dream
that called
Scheme.
again? Yeah.
That was a parody of Ballamore.
Is it the one with sick, black sick everywhere?
Black sick.
Aye,
It
but
tore the heart out of this community.
but it'd be good to see a real gritty, a real gritty,
real
thing.
one?
Oh, it's like a
Tartan
real
noir kind of thing.
Yeah, it'd be good. Maybe we should pitch that.
Shetland.
But it's not bad. But I actually just set it in
Oh,
Ballamore.
just set right, okay.
It's something quite specific Mark's asking for.
And if only I knew one of the writers. But let's take a whole different tone. Anyway, that about covers it, I think, for this week's
Yeah.
I'm glad we started with a plug.
episode. Yes, I know. Well, there
Yeah,
you go.
we can plug it again. We've still got those shows.
Well, I would say to plug.
If this hour of listening to us has given you the taste to buy some tickets to see us,
If you want to
more?
see, and if you want to hear more of us chatting, sign up to the Patreon.
yeah,
Yeah,
For as
please
little as
do.
£3 a month.
Good
can
stuff
sign up.
over there, man.
Extra episode every 2 weeks, bonus content from all the live shows, first dibs on tickets for stand-up shows, some laugh lives, etc.
Thanks to everyone that continues to be a patron. We do appreciate it.
It really helps
Probably
us
don't
out,
say
so
that enough.
thank you so much for doing so. And listen, there's loads of great content here. Over 50 hours now of bonus
yep.
Nice
content. So fucking loads to enjoy.
When's
there.
this go out?
Next
This
Wednesday.
week?
Wednesday?
Can I quickly plug? I'm
Absolutely.
in Manchester Saturday night and London Sunday night with a lovely time, and then at the Bill Murray what's that? The 7th and 8th, I think, of June.
That's
I
right.
think there are a few tickets
Saturday,
left. I think.
Sunday.
Yeah. I'm really looking
Yeah.
forward to it. It'll be good. Please
Speaking
come
of
out.
which, I will be in.
My new show, by the way, not the last one.
I'm
This is
going to
a
be
web-
in Ireland this weekend. I'm in Cork on Saturday the 7th, and I'll be in Dublin on Sunday the 8th. There's still a few tickets left. Well, there's tickets left for Cork, and there's a few tickets left for the early show in Dublin, which is 6 p.m. I'll also then be in Derry and Belfast the week after. So
That'll be fun.
look out for that.
I will be in Edinburgh 5th of June, Thursday. So tomorrow night, if this is out Wednesday. Doing a wee whip, and I've got other whips. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
come
we've all got
We've got
whips
a
going
bunch
on.
of whips in Glasgow and Edinburgh.
We've all got
and wee
Edinburgh
rooms.
Fringe shows to promote as well. So hopefully sees at one of those over the piece, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in as ever, and we will speak to you very soon.
See you later,
Thank
guys.
you.